Hello. Welcome to this video. Today in this video, I am talking about insulin resistance. And if you are someone, especially women over 40, 45, who has belly fat, you very well might have insulin resistance. And if you do, makes it really hard to lose the weight, especially that amount in your belly. And what's going on when you have insulin resistance, and what can you do about insulin resistance, and what types of foods do you need to eat, and how it affects other hormones in your body. So this is a really important topic. I have covered it before. You can look on my YouTube channel, Diana Marchand, and you'll see that I've also done videos on various hormones and definitely on insulin resistance and belly fat. So we're going to be talking about that again in this video. So welcome. Let me know that you are on. Make sure to say hello if you're watching replay or if you're watching live. Always say hello, let me know. And it's very important for Facebook and even YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, that you give me a like or you comment, because when you do that, it lets Facebook and YouTube know you're interested in my videos, so then it will show you my videos. If you never comment or never like or love anything on my videos, you may not see my videos much anymore. That could be why. So make sure that you do that. And if you're on YouTube, come and join Women Creating Healthy Lives, my free Facebook group for women over 40. And if you're in that Facebook group, you can check me out on YouTube, Diana Marchand. Okay, let's get going. And I have free trainings, really good trainings on my website, dianamarchand.com, under free trainings for you. And you can also find out about my Clean Eating Simplified group. That is still not too late to join. We start tomorrow. And that is working towards like eating healthy during the holidays, eating really good and clean, yet still enjoying the holiday foods. So I'm going to show you how you can do all of that, because you really want to live your life. It's about living your best life and not depriving yourself, but living healthy, right? Like really having health and happiness as your priorities and building your life around that. Okay. Now I'm just going to go here. And the book hello ladies, make sure you say hello. The book I am going to read some information from is this book. Yeah, I know it's backwards. It's the Hormone Reset Diet from Dr. Sarah Gottfried. So Hormone Reset Diet. I do a program where we work through the hormone reset. Every once in a while, I do that a few times a year, where we definitely help to reset your hormones, which get you out of the insulin resistant metabolic disorder and all these other things that could be causing this continuous weight gain, not being able to lose it, feeling fatigued, feeling really tired, feeling exhausted. Okay, but today I'm talking about the hormone insulin, how it affects other hormones in your body, how it leads to definitely weight gain and inability to lose weight, and how it affects the other hormones. And I want to say the main thing we talk about when we're talking about insulin resistance or insulin is sugar. But very, very, very important thing for you ladies to know in midlife is that it's not just white sugar that can cause this. If you consume too many simple carbohydrates on their own, let's say crackers, rice cakes, cookies, any types of breads, white rice, all of those things, even cooked oatmeal, during this phase of life, in the midlife and beyond, I don't care if you're in postmenopause, if you still have a lot of belly fat, a lot of times when you eat those simple carbohydrates, and you can Google what are simple carbohydrates, what types of foods are they will lead to belly fat. They will be seen as sugar in your body. So you may say to me, I don't consume a lot of sugar, Diana, but you may consume a lot of foods, even some healthy foods that are this phase of your life actually are seen as sugar in your body, therefore metabolized like that. You eat those foods, they go right to fat. You eat those foods, they go right to fat. So it's really crazy. Fruit on their own. So an orange, when you have an orange, when you're 20s, 30s, and even early 40s, and you're active or an athlete, that orange, that sugar in that orange goes right to fuel for your body. It's converted to fuel. Because an orange has fiber in it, right? Like when you eat a whole orange. We know fruit juices are pure sugar. Do not consume fruit juices. And especially in midlife, you don't want to have fruit on its own. Like grapes, I would get rid of grapes, period. Don't eat grapes. Grapes are pure sugar, right? Grapes are very high in sugar. There are certain ways when you could consume a few grapes, which would be maybe in a smoothie, right? Or in a fruit salad with chia gel, like other fruits mixed in and with some chia gel and maybe some hemp seeds and things like that, where you combine in a fat and a protein with that, then that doesn't spike your blood sugar levels as fast or as high. I need energy, Michelle. Well, you should come into my Clean Eating Simplified program that's starting tomorrow, because that's exactly what you're going to notice is a lot more energy within the first week, most likely. You can look at dianamarchand.com. You'll see a program that says Clean Eating Simplified. Click on that, and that will give you the information. We start tomorrow. It's working through the through Christmas holidays, eating healthy, eating clean, but still enjoying the holiday foods. 222 right now. That's what it is today. And you can make 2 payments if you want. Anyways, okay, so sugar, let's talk about some insulin. But listen to this, of course, Michelle. This will help you. All right, so we're talking about the sugars, the simple carbohydrates, the white breads, the white rice, the white pastas. Don't eat pastas, by the way, anyways. The fruits on their own, all of those things can cause you to gain weight because they're seen like sugar in your body, right? So sugar feeds the bacteria in your gut that make you hang on to fat, which then makes you gain even more fat. And I'm reading from this book, Hormone Reset Diet, Dr. Sarah Gottfried. I do a program, Hormone Reset, so I do a program about relating kind of to this, my own version. Insulin resistance is where your cells become numb to the insulin. Why does this matter? Because insulin can control whether a calorie makes you fat. The hormone insulin determines that. Okay? A calorie of carbohydrate is more fattening than a calorie of protein or fat. Boom, boom. Because of the effect on insulin. Now, note that when she says carbohydrates here, she is not talking about broccoli. Broccoli is a carbohydrate, asparagus is a carbohydrate, cauliflower is a carbohydrate, all vegetables are carbohydrates. But she's not speaking about those carbohydrates. She's more so speaking of the rice, the pasta, the breads, even gluten-free. Because most gluten-free stuff is made from starches like tapioca starch or really read the labels. Potato starch and corn flour, which is corn starch, and all those other things, which are just pure starch, pure starchy carbohydrates. They go right to fat. So if you want gluten-free, I have tons of gluten-free recipes in my programs, and I use more like things like almond and buckwheat flour, ground almonds, ground buckwheat grouts, and stuff like that, so that it's not as high glycemic index. It's not a pure starch. It doesn't go right to fat. But anyways, a calorie of carbohydrate is more fattening than a calorie of protein or fat because of the effect on the insulin. Too many of the wrong carbs. So we are talking about the wrong carbohydrates, not the right carbohydrates, cause insulin resistance. In fact, the solution to lasting weight loss is to maintain normal insulin levels. Hi, Jen. So when you have belly fat, so if someone's here who's really athletic, they're really fit, they don't have I don't have belly fat right now at all. Yes, I bet, Jen. I have worked for many years on this. I've done detoxing, done cleansing, eat really clean. That helps to stop the insulin resistance. So if you're thinking, oh, how can I end this soon, your insulin resistance soon, you would completely cut out the sugars and the simple carbohydrates and go like vegetables and greens and good fats and good lean proteins, whether they're vegan or not, right? And you would have like zero. So that's the fastest way to end this insulin resistance, is to like really go cold turkey. In my programs, and the one that I'm starting tomorrow called Clean Eating Simplified, because we're going to make it simple, you can greatly reduce those things. It's not about all or nothing. It's not about being perfect 100%. It's about going, most of the time, I'm going to eat super clean and healthy, so that when I go to those dinners, those holiday dinners or food, I can have those foods. And then the next day I go right back to eating healthy. So I designed this clean eating program so that you could be part of a supportive group while this holiday season is going on. And then therefore it keeps you accountable and on the right track. But you still can have those dinners. So there's another way of going through it, right? You can do cold turkey and stay cold turkey for at least 2 weeks or 3 weeks, longer if you can, right? And end this crazy insulin resistance. And then when you start reintroducing different types of foods, your body doesn't react the way it does in insulin resistance, which is you eat the food, it goes right to fat. You eat the food, it goes right to fat, right? But then also noticing I'm going to still continue to eat foods that have a lower glycemic index. They don't spike my blood sugar levels as high. When you have, let's say, a smoothie that has a bit of fruit in it, it doesn't spike your blood sugar level because within the smoothie, you also have high fiber foods, proteins, and essential fatty acids, so really good fats. So you are balancing it out. It's not like a pure sugar. So if somebody has like a fruit juice or takes a smoothie and just has strawberries in their smoothies or strawberries and banana as a smoothie, that is very high glycemic. That will put the weight on. That will cause the fat. So you don't want to have just fruit at all in your smoothies either, which I see a lot at places you go to get a smoothie. It's just fruit. Don't buy those. You want to make sure that you have some fresh greens in there, that you maybe have some super powders in there that are high in minerals and trace minerals and essential fatty acids and high in protein, like spirulina, right? A good mixed green powder, barley grass, wheatgrass powder, moringa. Moringa is really, really good for you about this too. And then, so there's super powders that I talk about on my programs too that really help you to greatly decrease this insulin resistance, like just bang it out of the water. So when you begin to eat foods that help balance things better for your body, then you kind of get out of that insulin resistance, right? So let's talk more about it. Your body runs on glucose and insulin is one of the master switches. When you eat a cupcake, or 2 every day, which hopefully none of you do, when you eat a cupcake or 2 every day, there may not be room left in your tank to store the glucose as glycogen. Then insulin turns devious, transforming from a fat-burning hormone into a fat storage hormone. Once glycogen storage tank is full, day in and day out, you are stuck converting carbohydrates into fat instead of using them for fuel. You desperately need what? Anyways, that doesn't make sense. Instead of using it for fuel, you desperately need and storing the fat in your liver, waistline, and other organs. So that's what happens. When you're insulin resistant, this is what happens. It's like there's too much coming in and your body can't handle it. So anytime there's too much, just like with cortisol, when you have too much stress consistently, your adrenal glands cannot handle it, right? So the same with when there's too much foods that are being brought into your body consistently that your body sees as sugar, it eventually can't handle them all. But when you're 20s, 30s, and early 40s, you could handle those foods and they would be used as fuel, like cooked oatmeal, right? Oatmeal, high in fiber, people would say good for fuel, gives you good energy, very good for your digestion, very high fiber, right? But when you're in your midlife and you have like belly fat, when you eat cooked oatmeal, it is actually seen, because it's a carbohydrate, it's a starchy carbohydrate. And when you cook oatmeal, it higher the glycemic index. When you eat it raw, the glycemic index is lower. But as soon as you cook it, it releases those sugars, then it's higher glycemic index. So often people also eat oatmeal with a bit of brown sugar or maple syrup on it. So there again, you're just adding more sugar on top of it. And then if some people put fruit with your oatmeal, bananas especially, talk about a fat, like that's belly fat right there. If you're having cooked oatmeal with a bit of maple syrup and bananas, fat, just putting more fat on you. When in your 20s, 30s, and for men can eat that stuff and it can be used right to fuel it, so they can go run a race or go work hard all day with that oatmeal, right? And their bodies converted it to energy instead of to fat. So in midlife, your metabolism is different. Your body metabolizes starchy carbohydrates very differently in midlife than it did when you were before that age right? Or like for someone like me who's beyond it and has no insulin resistance, I can once again eat those foods and have no problem. I can eat brown rice now. I can eat white rice now and have no problem, right? So it's about bringing these hormones back into better balance within your body. Then you don't have to worry about these crazy things that cause the fat. And then all of a sudden you can't lose weight, right? You can, kind of gain a little bit of weight, then you can lose some weight, right? When you come through this phase and you work to better balance your body. So like it says, that's why so many women find themselves in a frustrating cycle of being 10 to 40 pounds overweight, lacking in energy, and unable to zip up their clothes, right? That's exactly, and this happens, is so common in midlife. And someone asked, when I posted, they said, what can your doctor do about this? Your doctor has no information on this, really. Your doctor does not learn about nutrition or hormones. That's not their specialty, so they cannot talk to you about it. MDs, like regular family doctors, cannot recommend or counsel you or coach you, whatever, on anything they have not learned. So that's why they don't talk about food. So they are not allowed to give information out that they have not learned in medical school. Therefore, they do not learn nutrition and they do not learn hormones. Okay? So they cannot help you. There's no pills or drugs that you should at all be taking for this. You can do this naturally with real food, with deleting certain things and adding way more of other foods, okay? So certain questions, right? So with for high insulin, if you eat a lot of sweets, if you like, especially if you use them for emotional reasons or stress eating, right? If you eat a lot of sweets, a lot of chocolate, a lot of cupcakes, a lot of breads, a lot of rices, if you eat all those types of foods, simple rice cakes, 100-calorie snacks, those types of things, right? Then and you have belly fat, it's most likely you have insulin resistance. Of course, if someone told you your blood sugar levels are a bit too high, you probably have insulin resistance. When you go without eating for about 2 to 3 hours and you feel shaky and anxious or irritable, you most likely have insulin resistance. Your body is addicted to that sugar, those carbohydrates. And when your body hasn't had them for a while, it's going to send out withdrawal symptoms like, oh my God, I need them, right? So you're going to need to put those foods, that drug, back into your body, and then your body feels better. That's insulin resistance. You should not have that. If you don't eat for 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, you should not feel that way unless you are super, super active. And it says, do you have body mass index greater than 25? If you do, most likely have insulin resistance. If you've been told you have polycystic ovary syndrome, that's possible. If you have problems losing weight. When you skip a meal, do you feel fatigued or cranky? Possibly insulin resistance. High blood pressure. Have you been told you have heart disease or I can't even say that word. Do you have a fasting insulin level that is greater than 5 UIU? Something like that. Anyways, there's just a few questions in there. Okay. Insulin is the gatekeeper of many other hormones of metabolism, which is why sugar needs to be taken out, right? If you're working, because one hormone affects the other. So then you end up in this loop where nothing you do seems to work because you haven't even started to manage any of the hormones. Therefore, they just keep activating the other ones. High insulin leads to estrogen dominance. And here's a huge one, ladies. High insulin can lead to estrogen dominance in your body. We know, and we're talking about the bad estrogen. Well, we know that higher estrogen levels have been seen to cause breast cancer, right? Now, there is good estrogen and kind of bad estrogen. Bad estrogens can be gotten from food preservatives, plastics, flavorings, various toxins in foods, most likely, environmental toxins, cleaning products, anything like that. It also raises testosterone too high, which makes you weight loss resistant. So higher estrogen levels also can cause, like you be bloated. Well, some younger girls, they grow really large breasts, bigger belly. And she also talks about that when you're eating insulin resistance, because if somebody has a big belly, a lot of belly fat, and then you notice that you eat and you never feel full, you feel like I could just eat and eat and eat. If anybody's in that stage, that's quite dangerous. And that is leptin resistance. So you could also have then not only insulin resistance, but leptin resistance. All of this can be metabolic disorder. So there's a lot that goes along with this. So of course, what do? Eat a low glycemic index diet. So that's right where it comes from, right? This is what you need to do. And what she said. Slow burning carbs coming from plants, right? Have more of the low burning carbs. Oh my God. Slow burning carbs come from plants. Vegetables and greens are the best foods on this planet. Now, yes, you need more things usually than those, but you want to greatly increase those, okay? Your vegetables, you need to start decreasing or giving up for a period of time the white stuff, even the brown rice, even the oatmeal. What else is there? Any breads, even all gluten-free stuff. Almond flour is okay. Okay, so if you're making something with almond flour, that is fine. Or like a seedy type bread, which is just seeds, maybe psyllium husk and flax, that is fine too, right? Don't fool yourself on buying a loaf of bread that says chia bread and read the ingredients and it's mostly wheat flour. Okay, don't buy that stuff. High insulin levels make your ovaries secrete more testosterone. Your cells also produce more bad estrogens. That's what I spoke about, right? And you can become leptin resistant. When you're leptin resistant, you feel like you're hungry all the time and you keep eating. So, like I said, one hormone, and it's just terrible for your body, right? We have to really get real about this. This is Christmas, right? Holiday season when most people eat far too many sweets. If you already have a bigger belly or belly fat or anything like that, it'll get worse in this time of year. That's why I started my program, Clean Eating Simplified, so you can move through the holiday season and not get caught up in this and actually begin to end the insulin resistance. Okay, when you keep eating sugar, you develop problems with dopamine communication. Now we're talking about the hormone dopamine, right? It's your brain. They need more and more sugary foods to raise their dopamine level to feel normal. So it's like an addict. This is so much like it is being an addict. Sugar is worse than like cocaine, they said, or it's as addictive as cocaine. The more you consume, the more the addiction is real, the more it affects every hormone of your body, the more it breaks down your body, the more disease and illness, the more inflammation it causes within your body. The more addicted you are to it, therefore, it affects every hormone. Therefore, it affects your moods, right? Like, so it's like, if I don't have my sugar fix, I'm going to feel like I'm going through withdrawals to a bad drug. That's exactly what it's like. Women tend to diet, restrict, and binge more than men, which seems to trigger the brain to overeat addictively. Interesting, women with the greatest hormonal upheaval at perimenopause and perimenopause report the highest rates of food addiction. And that is a huge thing because you're eating the wrong foods. You're not eating enough of the right foods. That's why I do the work I do. This is why I do the work I do. Because you don't have to be in that cycle, right? You're just unaware of what foods you are eating that are causing this and unaware of how much of the other foods you really need to eat. That's why I talk about superfoods, super powders, huge part of it, because they completely are full of minerals, full of essential fatty acids, full of good, clean, lean proteins, High alkaline foods. They decrease inflammation, boost your immune system, help your body to naturally detoxify. All of those things, right? They feed and fuel your cells. Let's see what it says. When your cells become resistant to insulin, your body is programmed to raise your insulin levels higher and higher. This is troubling because these hormones regulate your metabolism. And higher hormones do not lead to a faster metabolism. In fact, chronically elevated hormone levels signal that your feedback loops have gone rogue. When your hormones are elevated, your metabolism gets slower and slower, while you get fatter and fatter. The insidious hormone resistance and biological feedback loop is the root cause of most women's continued weight gain, belly fat, wrinkles, exhaustion, autoimmune disorders, lady, come on, inflammation, sugar cravings, and even chronic illness. Absolutely. Like many challenges, the tendency to raise insulin levels excessively and slow down metabolism comes from our ancestors' feast or famine livelihoods, when they had to be able to store excess energy at the time of feasting in order to survive at a time of famine. Our bodies are biological creatures. They've been the same way for hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years. Our body, when it's triggered in a certain way, says, store this, store this, store this, store this. And that's kind of what's happening there. I can produce insulin resistance in my own body simply by feeling overstressed. Here we go as a cycle. Too much stress elevates cortisol level, can lead to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance can lead to estrogen dominance and can lead to leptin resistance. Hormone loop, right? So you may try one thing and realize, why am I not feeling better? Because you're only dealing with one thing. You're not understanding that once one hormone is activated or changed, it affects all the other hormones. The only way to reverse the resistance and reprogram your hormone levels is to repair and grow new hormone receptors. And that's what's done when you take away certain foods and you add in other foods and you decrease your stress. And that's what I do in all my programs and coaching, okay? We do it all. When you do it all, it helps to balance your body. So that's why I always talk about bringing your body into better balance, body, mind, and soul, because that's what it takes, right? What does it say here? Some data on hormone resistance is new. This is an older book. Some of the data on how food can reverse insulin resistance are ignored by doctors. Well, they don't learn nutrition, so they're going to ignore it. Because they rely on nutrition as a solution, and most medical schools teach very little nutrition, and they actually don't teach really any. I've talked with doctors. I've had a doctor as a client, a couple doctors as a client. So she, who's a doctor, she was a gynecologist or OBG, whatever you call them. This is Sarah Gottfried. I had a total of 30 minutes of nutrition training in her medical degree. That's it. That's it. Don't go to your doctor for this. You can go to your doctor to be tested to see if there's anything obvious, right? Like, oh my God, I'm not feeling well. Go get all the tests from your doctor. Get a clean bill of health from your doctor, right? When you still don't feel well, when you still have whatever, then it's time to seek out. I need to seek out some other type of guidance from someone who really understands nutrition or how hormones work or the body, okay? Food increases blood sugar, insulin lowers. Food increases blood sugar. Insulin lowers it by escorting glucose to, we don't need to read all that. That's just what happens. When you eat too much sugar, your pancreas slows down, and eventually insulin becomes the overwhelmed bodyguard. Here's what wears out the bodyguard. Eating too much sugar causes wild fluctuations, both too high and too low, and your blood sugars and insulin can't keep up. As a result, your pancreas keeps making more and more insulin. Insulin levels rise chronically high, which is called insulin resistance, blood sugar then stays high because of little glucose is because very little glucose is escorted to the liver and muscles, and most is deposited as fat. In fact, your fat tissue can expand. So fat cells can expand up to 4 times its size to accommodate the storage of glucose. Now, let me just see what else. It's kind of repeating a lot of the same things. Resetting your insulin is the single most important action you can take to lose excess fat. So how do you do that? Let's talk about that a little bit. Okay. So it's pretty easy. You can Google what foods regulate blood. Oh my gosh, sugar. What foods help to regulate blood sugar levels? Now, I just did that. That's what I wanted to see what came up. And I'm going to read to you some of the things. But what they're also missing in this list, and this is why it's so hard to find out this information yourself by Google when you're not taking into consideration your phase of life, like the midlife or beyond phase of life, where your hormones are changing or have changed. Because these are the 13 essential foods, it says, to help blood sugar levels. But they're missing foods that I highly suggest, right? So cold water fish, which is great, absolutely. That's a great one. Apple cider vinegar. So you can take a good apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. Buy a good one that has the mother. So you want a good organic, non-processed, whatever, apple cider vinegar, not a cheap one. And you add a bit of it, like a tablespoon maybe, into a 12-ounce glass of water or a bit less. That's what they're talking about when they say apple cider vinegar. Don't just down apple cider vinegar on its own. I also use apple cider vinegars for my salad dressings. So you can take apple cider vinegar with a bit of water before you eat something, and that'll help. Also, probiotics are really important. So make sure you're taking probiotics that are at least 50 billion for one capsule. And probiotic foods. Okay, so probiotic foods. Good kefir if you are not dairy sensitive, okay? Good kefir and a really good organic natural yogurt with no sugars in it, no food dyes, no fruits, okay? Kimchi, but also watch. Kimchi can have kimchi is very common to have MSG in it or wheat. So you have to get a kimchi without MSG and without wheat. You can get it, but it usually has to be made by someone, okay? Farmers markets might have it. Sauerkraut. You can make sauerkraut super easy. I have videos on my YouTube channel, Diana Marchand, on making sauerkraut. Really simple. You can make your own, or you can buy. When you buy sauerkraut, buy like a European sauerkraut. Read the direction, read the instructions, read the ingredients. It should be cabbage and salt. That's it. No vinegars. Cabbage, salt. That's it. Okay? No sugar. God, they put sugar in stuff. And yeah, you want to read all salad dressings. You want to make your own salad dressings. Yes, you can, Kimberly. Yeah. If you feel good on kefir, if it doesn't bother your belly, I have lactose stuff. I can't use kefir. I love kefir. Believe me, I love yogurt, plain yogurt. I just can't eat it all the time. Just make sure it's like a really good organic, pure, nothing, you know what I mean? Nothing with added sugar, nothing with added stuff to it, okay? Prebiotic foods are really important too. And these things are garlic, onions, which I use all the time, leeks, asparagus, spinach, seaweed, don't use green bananas, and cacao, which I use cacao, and you learn that in my programs. And legumes. Now, legumes are good for you, and they're very high in fiber, but here again is something. Legumes and lentils are starch, right? It's okay, but you need to have minimal of those because they do cause weight gain in this phase of life. They are basically seen more as sugar again for your body because they're starchy carbohydrate. So when you consume legumes and lentils and stuff, you want to have them as the smaller portion. So you want a lot more vegetables and greens, smaller lentils or legumes, right? You want those as smaller. When you're wanting to lose weight, when you're wanting to get rid of your belly fat, insulin resistant. Can I eat more? What can I eat more of for cholesterol? It's just kind of what I'm talking about, Kimberly. It's the same kind of thing. You really want to focus on the good, healthy fats and get away from the bad fats, like a lot of animal fats. You want to try to, and so if you have kefir, okay, but don't overdo it. And also, get rid of the sugars and stuff. It depends on, good fats are good, but a lot more fiber. So you want raw vegetables too. So you want to keep really up, and we're going to be in my program, Kimberly's in my program, Clean Eating. You're going to be eating a lot more salads also, salads and veggies. So that's really going to help too. But cholesterol is actually a hormone we really need. But of course, some people who eat really clean actually have a high cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. It's like, it can be, I want to say generic. Is that it? Genetic? Genetic. Some people can naturally have higher cholesterol, bad cholesterol, even though they eat really good. So then they almost have to be the ones who are super clean. Yeah, you kind of have to follow up. Super clean. So in the winter, we often tend to not eat as many salads or raw vegetables and raw greens. And that can cause a problem too, right? So good fish, like fish, if you want your good fats, right? Wild blueberries are a good one for this. They said turkey, so turkey meat. Now, if you get turkey, make sure that you get an organic, non-hormone, please. Thank you very much. And it says turkey has chromium in it, so you can also buy the supplement chromium. Chromium helps the insulin in your body control blood sugar. There's also a product called 5-HTP. It's a supplement, 5-HTP. And that can help not only with moods, but also with regulating your blood sugar level. And it's a great product, 5-HTP, it's a supplement. Cod liver oil. Yeah, no one likes that, but you can get cod liver oil tablets. And they're really good for supporting hormones as well as balancing blood sugar level. Oysters, right? So we're talking the fish, we're talking oysters. Probably, I'm guessing sardines also. Oysters, the zinc and protein in oysters control fasting blood sugar levels. So then you're looking at zinc. So what else has zinc? Pumpkin seeds. In my smoothies, I grind pumpkin seeds and put the ground pumpkin seeds in my smoothie, which is high in zinc, also high in potassium, also high in protein, right? Flax seeds and chia seeds. If you've been in my programs, you know I preach chia every day. Chia gel, chia gel, chia gel, chia gel. Chia gel in your smoothie, chia gel mixed with fruit, chia gel and whatever, right? Like lots of chia gel. One of the healthiest foods on the planet. Hemp seeds are fantastic too. Nuts and nut butter. Now, peanuts are a legume. They're not a nut, even though we call them a nut. So peanuts are not that healthy for us. So if you switch to almond butter, that is way better. There's also tahini, which is sesame seed butter, which I love, really good for you, and sunflower seed butter. It tastes a bit funny, but sunflower seed butter is also good for you, and you can use that instead of peanut butter. But almond butter is actually, of course, the best tasting one. Eggs. Now, some people are sensitive to eggs. So if you get a bellyache from eggs, don't eat them. But eggs are also good for balancing blood sugar levels. Why? Because they're a protein and a good fat. And they're a fat, right? Just like chia. Chia is a complete protein, and chia is also really good for essential fatty acids. Same with hemp seeds. Hemp seed is a complete protein. It's also really good with essential fatty acids. So you really want those good proteins. Plant proteins are probably the better ones, and the good fish proteins, and good oils. Okay? Plus, lots and lots of vegetables and lots of greens, cooked and raw, right? If you get eggs, make sure you get eggs from a farmer close to you that has them running around eating whatever, not eating GMO grains. And you can ask them, do not get eggs from a farmer that's feeding them like corn or something that's GMO, high GMO. If you go to a farmer's market, you can usually get organic eggs or those type of eggs. Like sometimes they're not certified organic, right? So you just talk to the farmer, or in your grocery store. Organic free range eggs, right, are your best option. Now, one of these things for balancing blood sugar levels they suggest is steel cut oats too. Now, steel cut oats are less processed than oats, like oatmeal, but they still will convert to fat for women in this phase of life. So if you use steel cut oats instead of oatmeal or anything like that, having a little bit of them, but like I said, are you eating steel cut oats cooked with bananas and maple syrup? That's just a disaster waiting to happen, right? You know what you can have instead of oats is quinoa, cooked quinoa. White quinoa cooked. Use that as your oatmeal. Then you can add cinnamon and a little bit of maple syrup to that. Tastes delicious. Add some pumpkin seeds, a little bit of sunflower seeds in there, maybe some hemp seeds, and add chia gel. Fantastic breakfast. Really, really, really good for you. So you don't need to use the oats and all of that right now until you get rid of the insulin resistance. Okay? So those are the foods that are suggested on a website, except, like I said, there's things to consider when you're working on those, right? When you're going to a website and you're trying to read, it could tell you to eat certain things, but then those things at this phase of life actually cause you to gain weight. So then you're like completely lost. You don't know what to do. All right, there we go. Anybody have any questions? People have come on, I've lost them. It's a lot of information, but it's also good information. And what's more important than your health and wellness? So I believe that this is what, instead of binging Netflix, listen to information like this. And again, my program, Clean Eating Simplified, starts tomorrow. You can still get in. We're not going to it's not a whole bunch happening tomorrow. We're just easing into the program tomorrow. And that is, you can look on my website, dianamarchand.com. There's a part on top. It says Clean Eating Simplified. Click on that, and that's where you can get pay. If you need to do 2 payments, message me on Facebook, or you can send me an email. And you can do 2 payments if you want, if you can't do the 222 all at once, okay? So that is open for you. We are starting. It is going to be in a Facebook group. We're going to have, I do Facebook Lives like this with information. I also will be showing you recipe videos, how to prepare certain food videos, quick and easy meal videos. You'll get some recipes. There's already a group of amazing women in there who are working towards this. Will be committed to eating clean most of the time and healthy. You will learn about the super powders and all those things. And then when you go to your holiday party, when you have your family dinner, you can eat what you want because you have been eating good most of the time. All right. Have an absolutely amazing night. Thank you for those watched live. Thank you if you watched the replay. Make sure you've let me know you watched the replay. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want the link to Clean Eating Simplified, ask me in the comments, and I will post it in a comment anyways on YouTube for that program. Also, I do one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested in you'd rather do something private with me, I have all price ranges for one-on-one coaching. You can even just do 1 session. So don't worry about it. Okay. Have an absolutely amazing evening, and I will speak to you later. Okay. Bye-bye.